Okay, Caustan, let's do this.
Okay.
Let's try a compass. So you can just start by just drawing the circle and lines. Should be all you need. Okay, great. And then in the center is whoever is involved in what you're working on. And so who's involved in making, in your mornings and what goes into making them work? Is it yourself? Are there other people involved in that?
It's me. It's all me.
It's all you. Okay. So for some of these other things, you'd need to bring the other people into the center, and you need to really understand them and what's going on with them as well throughout, and work with them throughout. But this will keep it simple for us. Me. Fantastic. Okay. So thinking about you and just really just looking at what's happened, what's happening down to the details when you're having a great morning. And it might have to do with what's happened the day before, but great morning, and also at the other extreme of your experience, not so great morning. So start, here's some sticky notes, and you can just take a minute to just get into those moments and write. So maybe we'll start with what a great morning looks like. What does that look like? Take us there. What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
Well rested. Routine starts, so like good breakfast and a nice plan for the morning. I'm running on time. Have clarity on what I want to accomplish for the day. If I'm fortunate, I get to hit the gym. And I always have great music kicking off the day.
Mm-hmm. You're at high energy.
High energy, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do you mind if I ask a few of the whys here? So why, when you're on time, why are you usually on time?
I live and die by my calendar. And so if anything takes a little bit too long in the morning, then it kind of throws off the rest of the day till about lunch.
Okay. So this is when you're working by that routine, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's do the other side of that. What's happening on a not so great morning? And why?
So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but most of my creative time comes late nights, and I can't sleep until I make sure all the ideas, whatever it is, are outside of my head, and then that could usually give me a late start in the morning.
Mm-hmm. And why is that going late into the night?
I've always been that person. Like that's when I have all of my like best ideas and or time to myself to just sit and think. Sometimes if I wake up and I know I have something that's really important that day and I'm worried about it, but I don't necessarily have a process to deal with it or a proper next step, it can kind of throw me off. And to go along with the on-time piece here, like if my schedule's off, then I'm feeling rushed. And if I'm rushed, either from lack of rest the night before, or I'm rushing to get to a meeting that popped up, or something along those lines, it throws off again the whole routine. And again, the last part of that was if I'm not getting to bed at a time where I can just rebound quickly in the morning.
You've actually distilled it quite a bit already here, but what do you think matters most in the difference between these two things, right? Like when things are really working, what's making that happen? What do you think the key is? And asking the whys is often where we get kind of the most that we can really work with. So maybe we can dig into a couple of these things. How about this one? So creative time starts in the evenings. Why is that? What's the switch that turns on in Caustan that gets him creative?
It's probably the most relaxed point for me throughout the day, and just allows me to be me.
Why? Why is it the most relaxed time for you? What has happened that?
Yeah. So I would have stopped working on whatever I was working on, and I would have probably finished doing or watching TV shows or reading books or gym, most likely, or sometimes it's music or like a decent like radio program or something, just to kind of slow the mind down a bit and take it away from the day-to-day.
Okay. And how long does that usually do you spend usually doing that?
Yeah, I guess it just changes on whatever happens during the course of the day, but it could be anywhere from like maybe even 2 to 4 hours, depending on like how heavy responsibilities are.
Okay. And is this every night?
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of getting the picture, we're kind of rewinding. This happens in the evening because you've had a chance to unwind. Do you think that if you were able to unwind, is there a certain time that this happens, or is it just whenever you've managed to unwind, that's when this happens? It's not 10 o'clock at night, it's when this has happened.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
yeah.
Great, okay. And then this, when do you actually go to bed? Why? What has let you go to bed?
Part of that unwinding is just also accepting that, you know, you've done all you can for that day. And when I say challenges that still need to be solved, like I sometimes work in not just like linear processes. Like I may need to do one thing over here before I can set something up over here, and I'll need them both moving in the same sort of direction. So it's not something that can happen right away, but I feel comfort knowing that I've either had like a major accomplishment or that I've taken something as far as I reasonably can for that day.
Okay, so what I was hearing you saying that you've got comfort and had some level of accomplishment, or you've taken it as far as you can, and coming back to what you said before, you've got clarity on goals for the next day.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think there's a lot here to work with. We can zoom out and just see if there's just a really powerful couple of principles that are making the difference between a really great evening that makes for a great morning and one that isn't so great. Like what really makes things work now, and as we imagine for the, into the future, what's going to drive us being in really great shape, and we can maybe write it and even draw what that is in whatever words you'd like. Really works when what matters most is that.
Yeah, I think what I'll put here is getting to like not just creative, but a sense of stillness. That also is piece of that unwinding time.
Mm-hmm. And that's what gets you here, that starts sooner. Okay. It seems like for both of these, is it something about, you're writing. I bet you've got it. We'll see what you've got.
Yeah, it's a little bit more on that clarity piece.
Yeah,
Just
that's what I'm guessing.
setting expectations for the next day.
Mm-hmm. And even some sort of recognition, it sounds like, in celebration of today. Is that right?
Yeah, and I wonder if that might tie in back with the stillness here.
Okay. Let's add that one maybe, though, if it's its own thing. You said take things as far as I can. So there really are sort of two pieces of your evening, actually, that broke up. So maybe we can just work with one or the other for now.
Okay, so I've taken things as far as I can and tying that back into setting expectations for the next day.
And knowing that you have, right? Is that what I was? So, feeling and knowing that you're taking things as far as you can is what I'm hearing from you. Awesome. Okay. How do those feel? Do they feel like?
Yeah, we're in.
If you even just were to go into the next evening, knowing that having these three things on your mind, do you think ideas might even flow in the moment? What does it do? I'm just curious to sort of see these in front of you. Were those clear to you before you started, or?
It only came out in conversation, but it feels accurate. Like it feels very accurate, so I can probably stew on that for a bit, and I guess when I'm confronted with some of these challenges, I can come back to this space here and see what ideas pop up.
Yeah. Sometimes we find that even if we don't get a chance to go here, even if we hold these in our mind, that in the moment it helps guide us, right, like a compass, about where we might go. The nice thing about this space is that it's just about dreaming things that could happen. this is our space where we can just put stuff, although I don't want to stretch our time. Sometimes having a picture of what that looks like is actually really powerful as you're going forward.
I don't even know if that is going to make sense, but we are going to run with it.
So yeah, what does that look like for you? That looks like...
That's some sense of just zen or peace.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. And what about these? What does that look like?
Nice, poorly drawn checklist.
Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, this space is where we get to just kind of throw ideas at the wall. We're not worried about the details yet. We're just looking at the big picture of all the different things that could happen. And later on, we can worry about the details and picking the ones we want to experiment with. But right now, we're just going for it. Just anything. So we can, and you can always grab a friend. My ideas may not be, super relevant, but what the heck? You can just get them in there. So, let's see. So let's just go at it. Let's just draw some stuff. And we can kind of see how many we can generate in a couple of minutes.
Maybe just schedule some time in throughout the evening or the day at different points.
Awesome. So that you're not actually trying to do it all at the last minute. What could happen? Totally. In this space, we're totally thinking about where could ideas come from, when could the ideas come from. We don't have to think inside the box that we even created for ourselves. Other people could help too. This is, I don't know what your house looks like, but I'm imagining like a little Zen station. Like you walk in the door and the first thing you see, maybe next to a nice window you can look at, is like a little chair that you sit in, and your headphones are right there, and it's just like, drop your stuff, sit in the Zen station, and just...
It's pretty cool.
Let's keep going. You can always pull from other people's experiences. I had a sleep buddy for a while. You could have a Zen buddy for you. You guys call each other at 6 p.m., where are you? Are you in your Zen station? Are you at home?
Accountability. I was just wondering if maybe all the ideas come when my mind is finally still because I've ignored them for the rest of the time.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. What if you were to create a space for each challenge, like literally one of these, or maybe it's just a piece of paper.
Okay.
But then you can literally move them and prioritize them. And like, I'm going to work on challenge 1 tonight, and maybe actually 2 and 3, I don't have to solve those right now. And I put them on, maybe there's like a part of my wall that is tonight, and there's another part of my wall that is like this week, and another part of my wall that is like later. And I can come back and fill that one out later. But if ideas keep coming to me about this problem, I can still throw them on there. Even though I don't feel like I have to button up. It was interesting that you had taking things as far as I can, but also like feeling like things got actually solved at some point. So maybe there's some that you've just taken as far as you can, and some that I really actually have to solve. Maybe if you can push those apart, that could feel good.
This feels like immediate stuff to try. So.
Okay. So usually, like, the reason we don't try stuff is when we try either to do something too big or too many things at once. So just picking something that feels like a great one to start with, and then getting it so concrete, you know exactly what you're going to do when. So there's no, there's no like ambiguity about it, and you're most likely to try it. What do you think?
I feel like if I am deliberate about discipline here, in blocking off like earlier times and letting the blank space get occupied with work or whatever, I would probably be able to do that one almost immediately.
Okay, so what does that look like as an experiment? And then, so how does that really happen for you? When was the last time you were successful at blocking time for something?
Regularly, actually. If it's not on my calendar, it just doesn't happen. So I have it for all the responsibilities that I would have for others to make sure that they get what they need and when. So it would just be a matter of blocking out enough time with a buffer that I can do those things and have others comfortably know that I'm not accessible during those times.
So do you do this now at all? Have you ever tried blocking time for the gym and things like that before?
Not necessarily, no. No, I haven't. No.
Okay. And when you block, do you ever block time for things and that block gets run over?
Depends on what priority it is. So it would just be a matter of making sure that there's an equal priority between things that I have to do, that need to go out the door, but also things I have to do for myself. So
I'm going to add that as an observation. So we know that we've got to have a experiment about how you get, so let's design right now an experiment, and we can do it. Where's that planner? Where's that iPhone, whatever you got. But how are you going to get high priority time on your calendar for this week?
I would block off a recurring appointment.
Okay.
Yeah. And for the accountability, I'd say just to start, I could either reach out to a friend and bring in that sort of zen, like, hey, I checked in this week, or I can bring them with me to the gym or something along those lines.
So I hear could. That's what could happen. I love that idea. How are you going to try it?
Well,
Down to details. Who's
all right.
that friend?
I will call my friend Greg,
Yes.
and we will make a few gym appointments this week.
Okay.
And
so when does this happen? So Greg is your buddy. Okay. What time do you think those need to happen? Because this is about this, right?
Right. So it'll be in the evening. And we'll just say
How long are they?
an hour, 60 minutes. And until I get an idea of his schedule, we'll just say 7 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday this week.
Because you'll get farther faster if you propose a time, right? So the more concrete you get, the faster you get towards a result. I love it. 7 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday, maybe. We'll find out. Okay?
And so for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll take that same time block. And I have a few journals and books that I'm a bit backlogged on reading, so I can just easily immerse myself in a few of those. There's a neighboring coffee shop that I tend to hang out with on weekends, so I can just do that a bit more deliberately during the week.
Okay, so what is that? Name it. Which is the coffee shop you're going to go to?
Dark Horse at Queen and
The next one is Monday. Okay, so where are you going?
Dark Horse, Queen and Hamilton, Monday, 7 o'clock. And I have a book from Devon Franklin that I'm still behind in reading, but I'll just pick up from where I am.
Okay, so if you want to put that in writing.
I'll put it directly into my calendar.
I like that way better. I like
I'm
that
off camera,
way
though.
better. And you can even give your friend Greg a call if you're doing it.
Yep, I'll put it in the calendar
The
now.
devil's in the details. That's why I'm pushing you to get to totally real.
Okay, that is in.
So the one for yourself is in, and then you need to do the one with Greg. So you're going to send him an invite, which he can then change.
Based on,
Yeah. For 7 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday this evening. This week, for an hour. Okay, great. And so then, we're gonna do that. If it was something we could try right now, we would, and that's actually a really good one to find out even how he feels about it. This is a cycle, right? We don't know if this experiment works. We have to come back and observe. And so what are the things that we might need to tune into this week to see if this is working or not?
well,
What are you going to come back and observe?
if I went, and if I didn't, then why?
Okay. What other questions? What are our experimental questions here?
I think those are pretty fair. I'm not sure what I'm missing, so help me.
Did I go, and if not, why? And then also where we started, right?
If I'm able to get to a place of stillness and yeah.
And then ultimately coming back to things. Do you have that great, are you able to get back to great mornings?
Right.
something that we didn't do as we went around. So these are the questions you're going to come back to and observe very, very honestly. And if not, maybe you find another principle that's missing. One thing that I didn't do as we went around here is just, do you have any questions on your mind about these things? When we went through here, was there anything you actually didn't know? I forgot to ask. You can put what you know here, but also what you don't. Is there anything that you actually didn't know the answer to? Any sort of questions that you want to learn about what makes your days work or not? Often when we have other people in this circle that are not us and they're not here with us, we have a lot of questions about what they might be, thinking or doing. We don't have that now because it's just you.
Right. Maybe just the duration of the creative time is something I'd still probably have a question around. It doesn't really seem to something that has an average to it, and I would want to know why some days more than others. But other than that, no, like the observation part here helped me just kind of map that out.
That's a great question. How long is this? I don't know how it varies and why. Yeah, so we forgot to do that before, but that's really important. And then people's questions and so on. But especially here, it's really important to just notice, hey, we haven't taken the time to look at this before, right? You haven't ever analyzed it before. So if you haven't really paid attention, we can try and see it in new ways, but sometimes we need to just go back and see it again. So that's something you might want to just notice more observations of it when you go back, and then as well as noticing what happened with your experiment. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I will call you in a week, right after I talk to Greg.
Yeah, great.